Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. Isis, Escape from Transylvania. The goddess next door and John Haynes must escape a horde of vampires on the hunt in this horror-filled Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Escape from Transylvania in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Last week, one of my Facebook friends sent me an article that confirms that SJWMCU is coming to a theater near you. And in the article he sent me, it confirms that Marvel Studios has purchased a script for an adaptation of Ironheart, the Riri Williams character who was featured in Brian Michael Bendis' horrific run of Invincible Iron Man. And with this decision, I have to scratch my head because Kevin Feige getting ready to greenlight an Ironheart movie is a mind-bogglingly stupid idea. Why is it a mind-bogglingly stupid idea? Because the Riri Williams character is reviled by most comic fans, the core customer base for many of these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. And if you cannot get comic fans to get excited about this movie is going to be dead on arrival. And with this whole Ironheart script, again, I have to scratch my head because why would you commission a script for a character who has not proven herself to be a character who can sell comics? On the regular, your Ironheart run of Iron Man usually got about 9,000 orders or so based on Comic-Con numbers. And that's orders from comic book stores, not actual sales. Because once you take a look at the order numbers, you have to divide that by 50%, and it's usually about 4,500 sales. So where is the audience that's going to want to see a Riri Williams movie when you have a majority of comic fans saying that they hate this character, and you have this character selling extremely poorly at comic shops? So why would you go out of your way to commission a script for a couple of $1,000 for an Ironheart movie? And why would you try to bring this to process for a budget to be greenlit for $100 to $200 million? There is no audience for an Ironheart movie, but in Kevin Feige's grand vision, he believes that the future is female. This is an untested and unproven theory, but he's going to try to prove it, even though we can take a critical look that other movies that featured female leads in action movies just doesn't really perform well. We can look at Proud Mary's failure at the box office, Atomic Blonde's failure at the box office, but Kevin Feige believes that the future is going to be female, and he's going to invest in characters that just aren't popular to try to prove that point. It seems like he's taking a dangerous risk with Marvel Studios' future, because I look at his decisions to make Captain Marvel the flagship character of the MCU after Avengers 4, and again, that's not really a smart decision when you take a look at Captain Marvel. And then another character who is universally hated by comic fans, and a character who, like your Riri Williams, just can't carry a series. And a character who is supposed to be featured in a movie that's supposed to be coming out next winter, yet there was no teaser trailer at the biggest event for comic fans, San Diego Comic-Con. That shows me that there's not much faith at the studios as related to the future female, the future that's supposed to be female, that Kevin Feige is planning. And when I look at his plans for Ironheart, I don't see much substance as related to story, because when it comes down to the Riri Williams character, she's a poorly designed character created by Brian Michael Bendis, and this character, who's supposed to be a 15-year-old, who's supposed to be smarter than Tony Stark, literally comes across like a Mary Sue, who knows how to do things that took Tony Stark years to learn, and in many of her adventures, she doesn't really take on any bad guys. She doesn't take on any challenges, and in some stories, she comes across more like a villain instead of a hero. So there's not really much in terms of story as related to this character to invest $100 million or $200 million in. But your Kevin Feige believes that this is the character he needs to go out here and greenlight, all in the name of diversity. And that diversity argument is something that really is not a strong argument for making this movie, because again, you had diversity in old MCU movies because you had characters like Jim Rhodes, who transitioned into War Machine. You had Falcon in the Captain America movies, and in Captain America Civil War, we saw one of the most powerful statements for diversity, because we had 3 black superheroes on screen, we had 2 women in the movie, and we saw people coming together as heroes in Captain America Civil War. That was one of the movies that showed us the greatest picture of diversity. But your Kevin Feige, going in with many of the SJWs, believes we need to have more diversity by bringing in people who have ethnicities, but we have no character. He's more focused on the color of people's skin, not the content of their character, like we saw in Captain America Civil War. Again, Captain America Civil War was the cornerstone as related to promoting diversity. It did a great job of promoting diversity, but these SJWs, they want to do their own diversity where they talk about the future is female. But when I look at the concepts that they have, it's more flash, but no real substance. And picking a character like Riri Williams to center a movie around is all about putting a woman in a movie because she is black, but not putting a woman in a movie because she is bankable, she has a strong story, and she has an audience ready to go see that story. If we had those foundations for that character, we would have more people excited about the whole idea of an Ironheart movie. But as it stands right now, when I look at these plans for an Ironheart movie, I see the same foundation laid for the 2004 disaster known as Catwoman, which starred Halle Berry. Yes, we had a black female Catwoman on screen, but she wasn't in a movie anybody cared about. And over the course of the year from 2003 to 2004, I read as people viciously ripped this movie apart on the original DC message boards and the superhero hype message boards, and people literally roasted that movie before it even hit the theaters, and the bad press literally led to this film bombing in its opening weekend. And that's what would happen to an Ironheart movie, where I see many YouTubers, many comic fans on message boards ripping and roasting the whole Riri Williams movie, and the Ironheart movie would crash and burn before it even got off the ground, because many people don't like Riri Williams. And when you have a character like Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark, who is very much loved by comic fans, and this is supposed to be the replacement, you're going to get a lot of anger from comic fans. So I look at Kevin Feige's decision, and it reminds me of the same boneheaded decisions that the Salkins made with Superman 3 by casting Richard Pryor in that movie. He just was an awkward fit in that movie, and it just led to a really disconnected and discombobulated movie. And I think about your Joel Schumacher and many of the visual images he put in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, like putting all those crotch shots in Batman and Robin, all those nipples, and much of the ridiculous dialogue he put in Batman and Robin. When I look at Schumacher and I look at the Salkins, I see Kevin Feige making the exact same mistake. When it comes down to Kevin Feige, it looks like he's gotten comfortable, he's gotten cocky, and he thinks that he can push this SJWMCU. But I look at this plan for the SJWMCU, and I see the end of the MCU, because when I listen to the chatter from the comic fans, they're not on board with these new SJW characters like Captain Marvel or your Riri Williams, and it looks like Disney may wind up taking some serious losses if they continue to go down this road and push this diversity agenda where you have these guys wanting to push these type of movies, but the audience just isn't interested in them. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct publications, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, John Haynes, A Conversation with Death. The man who rules the world and the angel of darkness take on a horde of demons in this inaugural John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, A Conversation with Death for 99 cents on Kindle or in paperback today.